Good morning. Hello friends. I'm glad you're here to join us today. I hope that you like this video that I'm going to have. It may not be what you expect. I want to get started today. I have a lot of chores to do, a lot of things to be done, but I want to tell you that growing up here in northern Alabama, rural Alabama, at the very southern tip of the Appalachian mountain range, that there are lots of old wives' tales and legends and myths and superstitions that still abound. And even as a Christian, those things have perpetuated themselves in my extended family. My grandparents all have passed, but growing up listening to the things that they told, those superstitions, although I don't believe them, I don't put any clout in them whatsoever. They're still part of my upbringing, part of my memories. Things like, if you hear an owl hoot in the middle of the day, that means somebody's going to die in your immediate family. If you see an owl in the middle of the day, it either means that you're going to get married or you're going to have a baby. If you have a wart, take one of your granny's needles and stick it into the wart until it bleeds. Throw the needle into the nearest creek, and within a month the wart will be gone. One of the things that I heard involves dogwood trees. If you've ever seen a dogwood blossom, you know how beautiful they are. That it's a off-white, pale white color, that each tip is tipped in a brownish burgundy color. And it was said that this signifies the death of Christ, that the four petals of the dogwood represents the cross, and that they're tipped in blood. And I've heard that the dogwood tree is sacred because it is the only tree that was big enough to hang Jesus from. None of that's true. Although I am a Christian, I understand the sentiment. A dogwood tree is not sacred in any way. Certainly is not large enough to have been hewn into the cross as we understand it. And it certainly was not the largest tree in the area. I'm not even sure that dogwood trees, as we know them, are native to that area. See, I grew up being told that dogwood trees were sacred. I know, it's crazy. But that you could never cut one, or else you put a curse on yourself. Now, this is not biblical. It's not scriptural. It's not Christian at all. It's absolutely ludicrous. But still, I have that thought in the back of my head. I have this dogwood tree. Not the green leafy stuff in front, but that dead tree that you see in back. It was beautiful when we moved here over 10 years ago. They bloomed for years and years and years. We had several of them on the property. This is one of the last of the two that are remaining. A few years ago we had a severe drought, and it pretty much killed all of them except for these last two, and it terribly damaged this one. Let me point my finger up here. You can see the bark is coming off. It's infested with carpenter ants. There's very little life left in it. We're going to go ahead and cut it down and replant maybe a pear tree in its place in this area. Something that is fruitful for us and something that we can use to provide for our family. Okay, so we got three main problems with this. The first is that I'm really old and out of shape, and I'm worn out already. Mostly because I don't have a chainsaw, which leads to problem number 2, is I'm trying to do this with an old Makita reciprocating saw. And I have a new pruning blade on it, and it's making progress, but we're only about halfway through. The third issue is that up in the canopy of the tree, you know, these are small trees, 25, 30 feet tall. The left-hand side of the canopy, it's leaning towards the left significantly. But that left-hand side up in the canopy is all dead. And the life that's left in it is over here on the right-hand side. And so all the weight is on the right-hand side. I want the tree to fall to the left because it's going down a very slight slope, falling into the weeds that still need to be cleaned up and not onto the road and the pathway or the little white picket fence. But because the weight is pulling it to the right, it's pinching the blade of the saw. So what are you doing? Yeah, it looks like it. You're doing a good job, aren't you?
Yep. Oh my gosh. Too much shaky.
Oh, I was pushing the wrong way. Tree down.
Well, that's totally not where I wanted it to fall.
Well, you know what?
Now you get to cut it up.
Oh, my feet.
And look, little Buster Dog thinks he's going to go do something about it.
I know he probably.
Did y'all hear him bark?
So you see who's boss?